This is your News Source Evening Bulletin for today, Friday, the 22nd day of October in the year 2021. I'm Gordon Mosley, and here's what we're tracking tonight. As the race for a new leader of the People's National Congress intensifies, opposition leader Joe Harmon officially launched his campaign for the position last evening, picking up endorsements from Region 4 Chairman Daniel Searam and a number of first-time members of Parliament, including Senior Counsel Roysdale Ford and Coretta MacDonald. Ford said he is of the conviction that the opposition leader has what it takes to move the PNC and ultimately the country forward.
We must be conscious of where we are now. We must be conscious of where we are now. And we must recognize that we are not making a light decision. We must choose a leader who will advance the party, not take us back. We must consolidate the gains made by the last leader.
For his part, the Region 4 Chairman and PNC member Daniel Searam said the party is at a critical juncture. He said the party's leadership appears to be in turmoil, and now is the time for all hands to be on deck.
This is not a time for us to throw any mud. This is not a time for us to move the party from a situation to an unfavorable situation, but a time for us to come together to choose a leader that will lead for all of the PNCR and for all of Guyana.
Current General Secretary of the PNC, Amna Ali, is also supporting Mr. Harmon for the top party post. Harmon is the first candidate to receive public endorsements from members of the party. In his address at the campaign launch, Mr. Harmon said at the end of the Congress, all those who saw the party's leadership must continue to work together in the interest of the party.
I want to commit as a candidate for these elections, and I expect that all of the other comrades who vie for that position, that they commit at the end of this process to working together in unity for our party. Win, lose, or draw, the bigger picture is our party.
He said he is committed to working with whoever emerges as the next leader of the PNC, but said he's confident that that person will be him.
Unity of our party is critical. And I didn't take this very lightly. I understand the environment in which we live. I understand the vitriol which takes place on a daily basis. And I understand the attacks which will come against me and against all of the persons who are on this campaign. But we are seasoned. We could handle it.
Harmon said candidates vying for the leadership of the party must not see persons who do not support them as their enemies. According to him, the goal must be set on the bigger picture, and that is to unseat the governing People's Progressive Party.
But I believe that our party is so strong that the comrades who offer themselves up for leadership will understand that to be the reality, and we will work together. Because, our common adversary is not any one of us in here.
The People's National Congress Reform is set to host its elections and Congress next month. Harmon's decision to run for the leadership of the party is being seen by observers as the incumbent leader David Granger's decision not to seek re-election, since the two share very close ties. Granger, who won the party leadership back-to-back and rode into the presidency with a high approval rating from his party, has now become very unpopular among the party's membership, with him being accused of running a one-man show in the party by its Central Executive Committee. Mr. Harmon was handpicked by Granger to become opposition leader following the 2020 elections. Other candidates who were interested in the position of opposition leader were surprisingly left off of the parliamentary list compiled by Mr. Granger. It marked the first time in the PNC Reform's history that a party was heading to parliament without its leader or chairman. Valda Lawrence is the current chairman of the party. She has not indicated whether she intends to seek the leadership post. But other executive members, including Aubrey Norton and Dr. Richard Van West Charles, have already indicated their decision to run for the position of party leader. More news coming up in a moment.
It's been a long time coming. Overdue, some might say. But now that it's here, it will change life forever. And it is here to stay. The future is now. Transforming Guyana into the 21st century. Introducing GTT Fiber. Experience internet connectivity like never before. Speeds you deserve at prices you can afford from a name you can trust. Sign up today. GTT Fiber is here. GTT. Together, we rise faster.
It's one of your biggest goals, getting your own home, where memories are made, where happiness lives. You may feel that home ownership or renovation is beyond your reach, but we at Republic want you to know that there's always a way. Ask us about our suite of mortgages. Let's help make your housing wishes come true. Or advise on how the equity in your existing home can finance other dreams and goals. Call or go online to learn more.
We've got exciting news! All 12-ounce yellow cab Buster are now only $100. Buster, live in
Come
full
get
color.
your Buster, Buster $100. Come get your Buster, Buster $100.
Alana! Oh my gosh, it's so great to see you.
You must have heard. That's why you're here at GPL. The great news, GPL's 22 for 22.
I absolutely did hear. They're giving away supermarket vouchers worth $25,000 to 22 customers.
Isn't it just awesome how GPL is giving back to the community, though?
For sure. But you know what you need to do? You need to ensure your account is completely settled, while prepaid customers need to purchase credit during the promo period, and make sure that you ask for that coupon. Nobody's left out.
GPL's 22 for 22. Promotions run October 1 through October 15th.
Mobile Delvac and all other mobile lubricants are distributed by Salt Guyana Inc. Mobile Delvac and all other mobile lubricants are distributed by Salt Guyana Inc.
Let GBTI make your dreams of owning a home a reality. Buy or build your home with us. Let us help you to completely outfit your home and make it move-in ready. Need to purchase land? We finance that too. Benefit from our 10% down payment and interest rates as low as 4.25%. Calculated on the reducing balance with up to 30 years to repay. Switch your mortgage to us and learn about benefiting from the equity in your home. Invest wisely. Apply online or call your branch to schedule an appointment. GBTI, we see Guyana through your eyes.
Welcome back. The Guyana Public Service Union has written to President Irfan Ali requesting the payment of a one-off hardship cash grant to public servants, which will be outside of their expected salary increases. In the letter to the President, the GPSU is requesting that healthcare workers in the public sector be paid a $300,000 cash grant, while all other public servants be paid $250,000 as their cash grant. Vice President of the GPSU, Don Gardner, said the payments should be made without prejudice to the negotiations for salary increases for 2020 and 2021, which are still to begin, and she believes the government can meet the requests of the public servants.
I'm hoping that as a president, he responds to the request. I'm hoping that as a president, he responds to the request. It's a request for the workers. They have given the sugar workers. It's not only the sugar workers we have in this country.
But I know the union has also been pushing for salary increases.
That's right. Well, that is why in the letter it stated, without prejudice to the negotiation or the outstanding negotiations for 2020 and 2021, we're asking for this hardship allowance to be paid to the workers.
But there are thousands of public servants in the country. Do you think it's a realistic request?
It is a realistic request. It is a realistic request, right? If we're talking about an amount, we can then talk about that separate. But I know the request of itself is a realistic request. It is realistic. They can afford it. They can afford it.
The Guyana Public Service Union noted that healthcare workers and other public servants have been working throughout the pandemic and have been made to face many of the hardships, including the rising cost of living in the country. The union noted that the workers have stuck to doing their jobs during the pandemic with poor sustenance and little or no recognition from their employer, the government of Guyana. According to the union, the workers have dedicated themselves and have performed exceptionally during the 2 years of the pandemic without any increase in wages, salaries, or their allowances. According to the union, the workers have been stretching their earnings to meet family commitments and are deserving of the cash grant to ease the hardship that they are facing. The union reminded the president that before he became a government minister and president, he worked in the public service, and therefore he should have a good idea of the situation that public servants face. The GPSU also wants the president to use his office to enable the commencement of negotiations for salary, wages, and allowances for the years 2020 and 2021. The government recently announced that sugar workers who lost their jobs under the former government when some sugar estates were closed will be paid a one-off $250,000 cash grant by the end of January. The cash grant is in addition to the severance packages that the workers have already been paid, and many of them have since been rehired to continue working in the sugar industry. Other sugar workers are now calling for the cash grant to be paid to them also. Just after the budget presentation in February this year, the government committed to increasing the salaries for public servants, stating that money was already catered for in the budget for those increases. 8 months later, the public servants are still to see the increases. The work of the Public Accounts Committee has now been stalled after the various clerks of committees indicated their unwillingness to work for the committee over health concerns. The clerk of the Public Accounts Committee took ill last week, and her illness has been blamed on the high stress level in the PAC meetings. In a letter to the chairman of the Public Accounts Committee, Clerk of the National Assembly Sherlock Isaac said he would be unable to provide the Public Accounts Committee with a clerk for its meeting which was planned for today and the meeting which was planned for next Monday. Mr. Isaac said due to the frequent challenges being encountered at the meetings of the Public Accounts Committee, the present clerk of the committee has developed health issues because of high stress and cannot continue to clerk the committee. He added that all other clerks of committees are unwilling to work in the Public Accounts Committee because of the unprofessional conduct of some members of that particular committee, which is not conducive to a healthy work environment. While Mr. Isaacs did not name the offending members of the committee, News Source understands that a number of parliamentary staffers have complained about the behavior towards them by one particular member of the PAC, who is a serving member of the government. The staffers have complained about being shouted at and verbally abused by the government minister who sits on the committee. Chairman of the Public Accounts Committee, Opposition Member of Parliament Jeremy Figuera, told News Source today that he was blindsided by the letter, which was sent to him and other members of the Public Accounts Committee by the Clerk of the National Assembly. He said Mr. Isaacs never raised the issue with him before.
Well, to say the least, I was very much shocked and flabbergasted when I saw the letter. I honestly was of the view that me and the clerk had a very good working relationship. He never expressed this view to me. So when I saw the letter, I was really in a shock. So and more so him saying that none of the clerk of the National Assembly's desires of working with the PAC is even more interesting, to say the least. You know, knowing that we have a backlog of work, the highest decision-making body of the country, and the PAC plays a role in that regard. And the clerk is very much aware of the important role the PAC plays in bringing transparency and accountability to the nations to come. So to say that, I am very much surprised with it.
The chairman of the PAC said he's hoping that the issue could be resolved soon, as the PAC is still faced with a backlog of work. The Guyana Agricultural and General Workers Union GAWU, which represents some workers in the oil and gas sector, today raised alarm about the possible sidelining of Guyanese workers in favor of foreigners in the oil sector. In a statement, GAWU said it was shocked to learn that foreigners continue to penetrate the local oil industry and are being given preference over Guyanese workers. The union said while there is talk that Guyanese are not qualified to do certain tasks within the oil sector, it has also learned that jobs which Guyanese workers can undertake are also being given to foreigners. The union said it recently learned that a well-known foreign company has recruited foreign nationals as drivers, mechanics, and other trades, which are jobs that could have been undertaken by locals. Additionally, another firm has been bringing in people to serve as laborers. Gawu reminded that Guyanese are competent and skilled enough to be given jobs in the oil sector. Recently, several government ministers implored oil companies to hire sugar workers who were displaced. Gawu said locals continue to be treated less favorably than foreigners in the oil sector and have been forced to operate under poorer conditions. The union said it considers the treatment of Guyanese workers disrespectful and discriminatory. It was also noted that foreign workers are reportedly benefiting from housing, subsistence, and other allowances, while local workers are not provided with the same. The union said it hopes that the government can pay attention to the involvement of Guyanese workers in the sector in the local content legislation. A few weeks ago, it was the Chamber of Commerce that complained that many foreign companies are being given preference for major contracts over local companies. In the health sector, with citizens vaccinated with the Sputnik vaccine concerned that their travel to the US and other countries could be affected since those countries only recognize World Health Organization approved vaccines, the Minister of Health in Guyana has indicated that the Guyana government is not supportive of persons getting revaccinated. The Sputnik vaccine is still awaiting approval from the World Health Organization. There have been cases where Guyanese students who have traveled to the US to continue their university studies have been forced to get revaccinated with a WHO-approved vaccine because they were vaccinated originally with Sputnik. Thousands of Guyanese have been vaccinated with a Russian-made Sputnik vaccine. The Minister of Health, Dr. Frank Anthony, today said that while the government does not have a policy on revaccination, it is not something that it would encourage.
So we don't have right now a policy of revaccination, because at this point in time, if we are going to revaccinate people, it means that some people would get more vaccine than is necessary, while we still have an unvaccinated population who would be at risk of getting COVID. So we first have to reduce that pool of unvaccinated before we start thinking about giving people additional doses of vaccines.
The Pan American Health Organization has also advised against persons getting revaccinated with a vaccine that is different from the first one they got. According to PAHO, there is no medical need for persons to get revaccinated, and therefore it would not recommend revaccination. Longtime broadcaster and founder of the Justice for All Party, C.N. Sharma, is back home after recovering from COVID-19 and being discharged from the intensive care unit of the COVID-19 hospital at Lilienthal. Mr. Sharma spent 3 weeks in the hospital after encountering breathing problems a few days after he was tested positive for COVID-19 back in September. He was fully vaccinated against the virus and spent a number of days in the intensive care unit of the hospital being nursed back to health. His wife, Savitri Singh, told News Source this morning that he is back home and recovering well. She said he still requires some oxygen from time to time, but is being weaned off of it as his condition has been improving steadily. The family has extended their thanks to the healthcare workers at the hospital for the care that was provided to Mr. Sharma over the 3 weeks that he was a patient there. In the past 4 months, Guyana has seen a spike in COVID-19 cases and deaths as the virus continues its spread across the country. Mobil Special and all other Mobil lubricants are distributed by Sol Guyana Inc. Mobil Special and all other Mobil lubricants are distributed by Sol Guyana Inc.
It's one of your biggest goals, getting your own home, where memories are made, where happiness lives. You may feel that home ownership or renovation is beyond your reach, but we at Republic want you to know that there's always a way. Ask us about our suite of mortgages. Let's help make your housing wishes come true. Or advise on how the equity in your existing home can finance other dreams and goals. Call or go online to learn more.
We've got exciting news! All 12-ounce yellow cab Buster are now only $100. Buster, live in
Come
full
get
color.
your Buster, Buster $100. Come get your Buster, Buster $100.
We are legions of men standing strong, but never too proud to stoop and help someone. We must send a clear signal to all. Do right. Walk in upright ways, knowing that's what being a man is all about. And ever aware that things will only get worse when good men do nothing. Stand strong. Be the one to live right.
It's been a long time coming. Overdue, some might say. But now that it's here, it will change life forever. And it is here to stay. The future is now. Transforming Guyana into the 21st century. Introducing GTT Fiber. Experience internet connectivity like never before. Speeds you deserve at prices you can afford from a name you can trust. Sign up today. GTT Fiber is here. GTT. Together, we rise faster.
Fuel it up and drive, super 95. Tune up. Fuel it up and drive, super 95. Tune up. Protect your fuel system, boy. High mileage and performance, boy.
Guy Super 95 gasoline gives you more reasons to drive and is available at 56 service stations nationwide. For affordable price, high performance, and high mileage, choose Guy Super 95 gasoline.
Fuel it up and drive.
Across the region tonight, a Haitian man identifying himself as the leader of the gang that kidnapped a group of American and Canadian missionaries released a video on YouTube yesterday, saying that he was willing to kill the Americans if he does not get what he needs. The speaker in the video, dressed in a purple suit, is recognizable as the man known in Haiti by the alias Lamo Sanju, the leader of the 400 Mawazo gang that authorities say is behind the abduction of the missionaries at the weekend. The 16 Americans and 1 Canadian, including 5 children, were on a trip organized by the Ohio-based Christian Aid Ministries. The missionaries were not present in the video. The Reuters news agency was unable to independently confirm the veracity of the video or when it was made. The U.S. State Department did not respond to a request for comment on its authenticity. Haitian Justice Minister Liz Quittel told Reuters this week that the kidnappers were demanding $1 million per person for the release of the missionaries. The Trinidad Express newspaper reports that the Parliament of Trinidad and Tobago was the scene of chaos yesterday as opposition members took umbrage with the House Speaker over the process regarding the tabling of an impeachment motion for the removal of President Paula May Weeks from office. The motion, which was brought by opposition leader Kamala Persad-Bessesser, created contention before it was read at the extraordinary sitting of the House of Representatives, as the Speaker issued guidelines to all members of the House and Senate on Tuesday, indicating that there will be no debate and the members are expected to vote on the motion, seeking the establishment of a tribunal to investigate the removal of President Weeks. In response to the guidelines established by the Speaker, Persad-Bessesser wrote to her indicating that the absence of a debate was an abuse of power. In the end, the motion was defeated, as 24 members voted in favor, while 47 members voted against. And finally tonight, international news. The government of New Zealand has set an ambitious target of fully vaccinating 90% of all eligible people to end coronavirus lockdowns. The Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern had been under pressure to provide a pathway to freedom for people living in Auckland, who have been in lockdown for more than 2 months. Under the new framework, people living in the largest city will regain many of their freedoms once 90% of people 12 and older across each of the 3 districts are fully vaccinated. Other parts of the country without community spread of the virus will gain even broader freedoms once they hit the 90% target. However, people will be required to use new vaccine certificates to visit places like bars, restaurants, and gyms. The government also promised more money to help businesses struggling under the lockdown restrictions and to boost vaccinations among indigenous people whose rates have been lagging. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight. I'm Gordon Mosley, reporting and encouraging you to have a safe and pleasant weekend.